This is my third time trying to record this video. Okay, so okay, I guess people are wondering why I'm in a tent in the middle of a bad area. In any bad area where I have to live at the homeless shelter. I'm not in debt. I'm not refusing to get a job. I didn't get evicted illegally from every fucking landlord that I've ever been to. What actually did end up happening was that everybody that I used to hang out with, were friends with, and knew me, turns out they were just, I mean, some of them got told some fucked up shit by some random people that they didn't even know and I didn't even know, but they just used an excuse to, like, talk shit about me and say what a horrible person I was. Some of them actively, including former coworkers, said that whatever they were doing was what I was doing, which is why I didn't work there anymore. Which is why their employer hired me, because then they can just say that about me and say that there's no problem with working there, it's just me that's doing that. Everyone was doing that I met so far. Just blaming me for all their problems and saying that it was me who was like that, not them. And some of them were actually stealing from me. It was identity theft, and they thought that I wouldn't find out or I wouldn't report it. And I'm like, you know what, the reason why I gave them so much time was because I thought they would smarten up and actually just do something about it, instead of, like, just kind of letting it fester. All these guys that rate me, every single guy that I've been on a date with, apart from a few of them, like, I'm talking less than 3. Those guys didn't actually rate me, but the date didn't go more than 1 date. So that's kind of why I was like, yeah, all the guys that rate me lied and said that we were actually dating, we were in a relationship for like years, and I just went crazy one day and started lying to the police about how I raped them. Some of them were actively calling the police about it, like, or like, calling about incidents that they said that I was there, but I just ran away after. And I just never, like, showed up when they called the police, and they told them my information, and then said that I was the one who was doing all that. And I was like, I've never met them, it was a false report, and they've been finding that for years now. Don't even know how they even got my information. All the landlords that I were renting from evicted me illegally, and said their plan, every single one of them, was to get me to break the lease contract by just not showing up and paying rent. But I already agreed to pay the rent for that allocated amount of time, so they can just file it to the landlord and tenant tribunal, and they'll get the money from me, and they'll get more money from people who, like, they were renting to that weren't living there at the time. Yeah, that was all of their plans. Didn't work out that way. What else? Oh, and also, all the former employers who, like, actually fired me illegally or made it completely impossible for me to actually work there. And then lied to the labor board about it, and then all the former coworkers and some of the actual employers started stalking me and lying about me to every possible person they could come across, saying that what they did was what I was doing, which is why I got fired, which isn't even true. And they actively just, I don't know what they were doing to make it look like they were paying me. I think they were using my name, saying I was still on their roster, and giving the money to somebody else. So I was like, I think that's a crime. But that's what some of them were doing, and I was like, what is that? Including the city shelters here. They didn't even want me to live there because they were looking for refugees or visa people to live there so that they could get money from them for staying there. Or they could sell drugs to people who were looking for drug dealers because they were getting the evidence from the police after the case was closed. they were to dispose of it, but they actually ended up selling it on the streets to their city shelter workers, which is why they were handing crack pipes and meth pipes and needles, heroin needles and stuff like that. I'm just like, yeah, and I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck that is. Some of them were trying to get me addicted to some of those drugs. Some of them were trying to sell me into prostitution on the black market. Black market being this, like, okay, so there's this, like, this place that, like, people can sell stuff without paying taxes or all that kind of stuff online and in person, right? So they can, like, sell people to prostitution, they can sell them to slavery or whatever. Some of my previous employers were involved in this. I filed a claim against the labor board, and I had a feeling this wasn't the first time this has happened to somebody, so I was like, this is fucking ridiculous. I'm a tax-paying citizen, what the fuck are you doing? Right? Like, what are you doing with my money? This isn't what I'm investing in. This isn't what you said it was. It's called scamming somebody. Or stealing. I don't know what the difference is, honestly. But, that's what they were doing here, the government workers in Canada, and they're not actually criminals, and they're not actually involved with people who do that kind of stuff for a living. So, I don't know why they were doing that. It's just weird. To me, I'm like, why would you do that? You know, like, people, like, lose their lives over that shit? People lose their lives over minor stuff, like, ratting out their employers when they're about to, like, invest millions into a different investor or something like that. Like, they go to prison for that shit. And I'm like... But, yeah, that's what they were doing. They thought it was okay. They've been doing this since I got to this country, honestly. They're waiting until they gave me a citizenship, which is why they gave me a citizenship illegally. So that, they could look like they just wanted me as a citizen here when they were just stealing from me the entire time. And they thought that they could get away with it. And I'm like, yeah, every criminal thinks that before they end up in prison and realizing what a mistake they made. But, that's what that was. A lot of coworkers were just lying about me. A lot of people that I thought were my friends who wouldn't even let me crash on the couch after I asked them. Right? They thought that would devastate me and give me PTSD. All that made me realize was that they weren't really good people to hang around or people that I should be considering my friends, which I'm glad I didn't. Like, I didn't even want to ask them, but I'm glad I did to let them know and let myself know that they're not really reliable or trustworthy people, which means that they're not really going to get employed anytime soon. Yeah. Very greedy, vain, selfish people. Vampires, honestly. And a lot of people thought that they were lying about me, saying that I was just using that as an excuse to, like, lie to other people, hate on other people. And I'm like, that'd be obvious if I was doing that. That's why nobody really believed them. Some people are actually pretending to be me online, which is why I got kicked off Twitter. And, I think on Instagram, they're trying to make me look like I was the one catfishing someone or pretending to be somebody else, when some of their users were actively doing that. And on YouTube too. And I'm like, what is that? Some of the media companies were stealing my life stories and presenting it online as if they were their own. And they actually owe me money from the sales from that because it was apparently a critical success. And people made a lot of money off of it and made some investing decisions, and they ended up just stealing from people, which they didn't know. They knew it was stealing, but they didn't know who they were stealing from or where it was going or who it was going to. It was me. That's why they're forcing me to be unemployed and being in this situation, because they think that this means that I'm a horrible person and no one's gonna believe me. And I'm like, no valid, educated person would even tell you this. Like, if they were, they would know that they're lying. Like, a lot of people even try to convince me that, like, there was something intrinsically wrong with me. This is why people are responding to me that way. I just haven't done anything bad yet. And I'm like, why would I think that way? The police were using everything I say as an excuse to hurt me because they have antisocial personality disorder. and they didn't know. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that. So coworkers stalking me and lying about me, coworkers involved in me not being able to get rental units, then all the people that I used to hang around with, or friends with, ended up just kind of pushing me aside and using me as a way to get themselves out of trouble from other people that they've never met by lying about me and saying that I was responsible for the stuff that they did. Which wasn't true. I didn't know people were so stupid enough to believe that. I'm like, look at them! And apparently the media company was involved to try to guerrilla market and like try to drill it into people's heads that those are untrustworthy people. Those people you shouldn't be friends with. People like me and people like them you should listen to. And I'm like, are you trying to ruin everyone's life? Like, what's wrong with you? They're a bunch of clowns, honestly. They do wear a lot of makeup, to be fair. But yeah, I was like, I didn't even know why they were doing that. People were just talking shit about me constantly, saying that it was my fault that happened, and I'm like, I had nothing to do with that. Honestly, this is why I don't even talk to them. And they're like, how come you don't have a place to rent, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, because all that happened. People owe me money. And I'm like, I would love to find a new rental unit, but nothing's available for some reason. Or they double the price, so it's not even affordable for me. And some of the places that like every single place that I try to get a new job at so I can save up some money, they ended up just, the police and other people that I used to work for just lied about me to their face. And the police were just harassing them and telling them lies about how I was a sex offender, which is illegal, and how I was convicted of a crime, which is illegal, and said that I was stealing from the cash register, which is also illegal, which is what they were doing technically. So I was like, yeah, I never did any of that. I never shortchanged anybody. And some of the employees actually called on when I showed up to the interviews. Their bosses didn't for some reason. So I was like, what the fuck? And then they stole my passport and my citizenship to try to convince me that I'm no longer a citizen because I don't have the papers for it. And then they try to convince me that I won't be able to get anywhere in life, and that like I'm just a horrible person because I'm living on the streets and I'm on welfare. And I'm like, you're forcing me to live like this, and every time I actually get out of this situation, you keep sending police officers or other government personnel to stalk me and harass me at work. Like, I don't understand why you think what you're doing is what you're doing when that's not what you're doing. And somebody even told me the reason why they're doing this is because they genuinely don't understand that I'm not doing anything wrong. They're like, there's no way that I'm not white and doing everything right, and I'm successful, and I'm smart, intelligent, and there's nothing wrong with me, and I'm not white. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why are you guys still alive? Do people know that's what you're saying all the time? And I'm like, they're trying to get away with it by saying that they can't speak English properly, or like, other people don't understand what they're saying because it's in English, and I translated it for them. And they realize that's what that actually means, and now everyone's pissed at them, and they're blaming me for the fact that they think that way, so I'm responsible for their thoughts and their behaviors now. Because they're underage, and I'm their parent, their legal guardian. That's what they're saying, and I'm like... And they even lied to other government personnel, saying that that's what I was saying about them, and that's how I was treating them. And I'm like, I have never once thought the government was somebody who I could trust or look up to, but I just didn't really care because their positions are replaceable. So whoever works that government job, I can get them replaced through, I don't know, protesting or getting other people in that position. With any job, right? Any career field. Like, your job is actually not that secure. If you piss off the wrong person or screw the wrong person, you're gonna get fired. And when you get fired, hopefully you don't end up in prison. And that's all it is to it. You know, you can't work there anymore. That's it. You have to find another job or something. Like, just try to explain it to the other employers why you got fired from that position. with your extensive work experience and educational background, why is it that you were fired? You're working there for 10 years. You're saying you had all these medals and awards and like you're a shining star in your company, but you got fired. Why? And they can contact the previous employer. Again, apparently people can't read English that well or something, and I'm like, clearly they're lying. I don't know why they all went along with it. It's insane. And they're like, I found out some of them are actually bribed, and I'm like, yeah, that's called prostitution. If you're getting bribed to do things, it's called prostitution. Yeah. If somebody's giving you money because you're asking for it, and you have to be in a relationship in exchange for that, also called prostitution. So, again, it's kind of like, I have no idea what the fuck they thought they were gonna accomplish here. They don't know what they're doing, and they're not gonna get very far, and they're very, very stupid. I mean, obviously all criminals are. But, well, not all criminals, honestly. I don't really consider them criminals. I mean, they're labeled as criminals. Personally, I just call them stupid. I don't think they actually fit the description of a criminal. Criminals are actually like that. I don't want to kind of surprise them or shock them into kind of showing them what actual criminals are like. Like, you know, people who describe as sociopaths or psychopaths that they actually look up to and they want to be like, because they think it's cool to be cold, unfeeling, and cruel. Which is what they are, but those are called losers. So that's not a sociopath or a psychopath. That's just an idiot. I don't know, but yeah. So that's basically why I'm on welfare and have to live in a tent, because everybody that I met so far in this country went insane and started to lie about me and say I was a terrible person and blame me for all of their problems in life, including their personality traits and the things that they said, and their thoughts. And they wanted me to marry them after stealing from me because they think that's how they're gonna keep my stuff. So I was like, I don't even know what the fuck is going on anymore. Like, I don't know why they're even doing that. And they realize that they're like, they actually don't have any authority, they don't have any friends, and they were relying on their parents to give them money and financial and social support the entire time. And I'm like, yeah, I stopped doing that when I was a kid. Like, I made my own friends when I went to elementary school and went to high school, and I started working on my own and just did my oon thing. Sure, I relied on them for finances because I didn't have that much money, but outside of that, like, I didn't rely on them for anything. Like, most people are like this, just FYI. It's retarded. Like, the people who rely on their parents to that extent as they did when they were 5 years old at 35, 25, whatever, they're actually retards. Retarded people still live with their parents and can't actually move out on their own and do things on their own. They were trying to convince me that I was retarded by preventing me from actively finding employment and living on my own independently. And they thought that I was going to internalize this and end up marrying another retard. And I would have retarded babies and I would just hate my life and hate myself. Or I would love being around retarded people because I'm retarded. That's what they thought I was gonna do. And I was like, they didn't understand why I wasn't doing that. And I was like, do you hear yourself? You think this woman who's not retarded should live a retarded life because you personally feel like that's the only way she needs to live her life, so you're happy. Because we're married. And we're sworn enemies, and we know each other so well, and I've actively done something to hurt you in some way. These are white people, by the way. Every single one of them. They all believe this. They think I can't do better than them because I'm not white. And I'm like, I get that you're frustrated because your country's not doing well. You actually have no effect, and I don't even know if you guys have a culture outside of this cult that you've started called Christianity. But that's not, like, that's not normal, okay? And honestly, I don't think all white people were like this, but they're kind of proving my point at this point. Like, I haven't really met a decent, non-self-serving white person who has morals and standards. Like, it doesn't exist in Europe or so for some reason. I'm just like, you don't have like, that's weird. I'm like, what am I supposed to say or do to like stop government employees and police from harassing me? Like, I can't really do much, and they thought that I would actually go and like hurt them so they can arrest me or say that like it's even now because like you did that. And I'm like, why would I do anything for you? Do I look like your family? Like, I think they think that we're family and very close friends, and I would do anything to make sure that they're alive. And I'm like, you're very, very delusional. You know what? You're insane. Do you know how hard it is to make friends? And on top of that, do you know how hard it is to actually, like, get people to like you? And accept you for who you are as a person? I mean, aside from the whole political spectrum and being involved with, like, some sort of socialist movement, or political activist movement or whatever, like, outside of that, outside of me doing whatever it is, I actually haven't done anything that deserves them from doing stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not actually a criminal. Like, I'm not actually a description for a criminal, nor am I born one. Some people are born criminals, to be fair. Like, that's why there's a whole study of criminology. I've never been involved with criminals. I never even actively sought things that were criminal in nature, and all they're doing is harassing me because they feel uncomfortable with the fact that they stole from me. Every single government employee in Canada, including the army. And that's how they were keeping themselves going and standing, by scamming other people and using my name for all that kind of shit. And convincing everyone that I was a piece of shit and saying I'm the criminal and was making their country worse when it was actually just them. And I'm like, how are you gonna expect everyone to believe you when it's clearly just a bunch of bullshit? And you think that people need to take responsibility for your actions because everyone's Jesus now? Anyway, that's what they've been saying, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know, have fun in prison, but like, I'm not going to prison over your bullshit. The fuck? Yeah, I don't give a shit about their disorders or mental illness bullshit. Sorry, I'm not a doctor, and nor am I your mom or your dad or your sister or your brother or niece, nephew, uncle, aunt. Like, I'm not even your extended family members. I'm not your friend. Ow. I'm like, I don't fucking give a shit about you after you tell me that and after what you did. They act like I didn't do, like, they act like they didn't do any of that, and I didn't do what I was supposed to do as their friend. When I did everything that I could and I was supposed to do, they didn't, and that's why it turned out like that. That's why we're not friends or we don't have a relationship anymore. And they're like, why aren't we blah? I'm like, because you did that. Literally, that's the only reason. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, like, if you didn't do that, then obviously we'd be friends and all that kind of stuff. But they're actually, like, this is how delusional they are. They think that they're me. They think that they're in my situation, in my position, where they didn't do anything wrong, and everything wrong that they did was what I did. It's called projection. They don't understand, not everybody sees it that way, and there's no evidence for it, and people can tell that they're just lying. You know what everyone else calls it outside of the psychological spectrum? They call it just a lie. People are saying you're lying and you're bullshitting them all the time. People don't like that. You're disrespecting them and you're taking advantage of them and you're calling them idiots at the same time. By thinking that they're gonna believe your bullshit when it's clearly bullshit. I was like, what is that they're fucking trying to convince me of? That they're so skilled people aren't capable of, like, doing that. Do you understand? Like, they can do those things, obviously. But they don't do that because they have skills. Because with skills comes standards. Unskilled people have no standards. That's how that works. Okay, when you have no standards, that means you have no skills. I don't know why that's so hard to comprehend. They were doing everything they can to try to make me look like I was a criminal and I'm a sex offender and I owe people money and everything. And I'm like, do you think everyone's as stupid and naive as you are? You clearly are, because you think people are gonna believe that. But not everybody is. I don't think that. I don't go around thinking everyone's stupid. I don't go around thinking everyone's naive. I don't go around thinking everyone needs to believe me unless I prove that I was wrong. I'm like, yeah, people aren't that stupid. Like, they can tell when you're lying. The only reason they're not saying anything is because they think you're insane. They think you're a crazy person for saying those things and lying to a stranger for no reason. And the fact that you can't take responsibility for what you did or comprehend reality at that age makes them assume not only are you crazy, but you're retarded and there's something intrinsically wrong with you. So they're just gonna stay away and be very nice to you and be very gentle to you and back away from you slowly. And think you're a crazy person who's gonna hurt everybody. So they're not even gonna bother with you. They're not gonna call the police on you. They're not gonna tell anyone about you. They might warn their friends and neighbors about you. They might tell their family they met another crazy person today. But other than that, they're not gonna do a damn thing. They're not obligated to make sure that you go to prison where you belong. They're not gonna contact the city and tell them what's going on, especially if you're a city worker. They're just gonna back away slowly and hope to God they never come across you again. Which isn't the same thing as respect or fear or whatever it is that they're going for. I mean, that's not, you can't fuck with me. That's, this person's insane and this person might actually hurt me for no reason because they felt like it because they were having a bad day and everything sets them off. Okay, so I'm gonna back away slowly from that person before they actually start hurting me. That's what that means. Anyway, yeah, I've been listening to music. I'm trying to calm down a little bit. Somebody told me some upsetting news earlier. Not upsetting, but like kind of like, ooh. But anyway, I think white people are crazy. Yeah, I think Europe's gone insane. And I'm like, yeah, maybe because you keep doing that shit and you keep telling people about the Holocaust that never happened and you keep trying to get people to pay for your bills. Like, they owe you something. You think the world owes you a favor. They don't. I'm sorry. Everyone else is working their ass off trying to put food on the table and making sure their family and friends are alright and their neighbors are doing okay. Right? People are making sure that they're doing okay. Like, there's a lot of work involved to doing that and they don't have time to baby a retard who's very, they're not even on the list of priorities. They're on the list of, like, when are we gonna throw this out? You know? When are we gonna take out the trash? You know? Can we just, like, put these people on a boat and send them somewhere and put that boat on fire so we never actually have to look at them again? Because why do they keep getting in the way of us progressing humanity forward? Like, you think everyone wants to sit down and talk about your problems all day? Why do you think people get paid for that? It's stressful. It's actual work. And I'm not doing that, which is what they're begging me for, free services. And they're telling me I'm cheap because I'm Asian. And I'm like, I don't even know where to begin about that kind of shit. But, like, you know what? Like, if the only reason that you are targeting me or harassing me or you hate me is because of something that you did in your life or because you're not actually good as me, I got news for you, buddy. You actually hate yourself, not me. It's not me that you hate. It's you that you look at yourself in the mirror every day and say, fuck, I hate this person. That's what you're saying, but you can't accept that because you know that's weird and wrong and nobody's gonna like that. So you blame everyone else for it as if they can't tell that's what you're doing. So now you're just insulting people by calling everyone stupid. And then you're expecting people to just love you. Which is crazy. Which is why I'm staying away from them. I don't even know if they can get organized enough to pay me back for all the stuff that they owe me. I don't think they have the capabilities on doing so. I don't know if they know how to do taxes properly. I don't know if they have enough money to pay me back. I don't know if they have enough money to even hire somebody to start doing that kind of stuff for them. I don't even know if they know what they're doing. And I don't know if they're ever going to realize what they've done. And I don't know if by the time that they realize, I don't know if they're going to get into PTSD. I don't even know if they're even going to be able to apologize for any of that kind of stuff. Like, how are you going to apologize for killing somebody's dog? I'm sorry I killed your dog. Here's a new one. Yeah, because that's the same thing as my old dog, right? That's gonna make up for all the times that I missed with my dog. Right? That's what that is. You're gonna make up for lost time as if we're long lost friends or something? Yeah, I don't think so. How about you fuck off? That's what I would say. That's what anyone would say. I'm like, what are the... I don't understand what they're expecting. And the white people's reasoning is because I don't like them. You said you didn't like white people, so we're allowed to do this to you. Deny you your human rights. And I'm like, this is why I don't like you. Literally, right there, as a group, this is why I don't like you. Because you're like this. Because anytime someone doesn't like you, you get upset and you think it's everyone else's responsibility to make sure that you're likable. If they don't like you, means there's something wrong with that person, not you. They need to like you. Everyone needs to love you and like you all the time. And I'm like, yeah, some people are like that. Some people are very likable. Some people are unlikable. You belong in the category of unlikable people, which is why I don't like you. But people who are likable, they make better friends. They have better time with their social life. Like, they don't actually have a lot of enemies or people who would want to see them fail. I mean, if you're deciding that this person that has nothing to do with you, that has not done a single thing to you or to hurt you in any way, shape, or form is your enemy, that means you're mentally ill. That's what that means. So, I don't really know how else to tell them that. I'm not going to. But I don't want to be around for them ever. I'm just like, and their justification is like, you're not helping me, so we're not gonna help you. And I'm like, you're at work, you're getting paid to do your job, not to sit on your ass and complain. I'm sorry, that's not what people are paying you for. If you think people are paying you to do that, you're clearly delusional. Maybe see a psychiatrist. And a lot of them actually dismiss psychiatrists and psychiatric advice because they're like, they don't know what they're talking about. Granted, some of them may not be as skilled as other doctors, but you are not in the position to say that because you're not very smart. Which is why you depend on everyone, and you're in debt, and you owe people money that you shouldn't be owing to, and you steal all the time, and you lie constantly. Which is fine if you're 3 years old. Not so fine when you're 30. And the fact that you don't even understand that is, again, very surprising and a very bad sign for you. Everyone else in the world is already knowing what they're doing and they got it already. They know what's going on. They can read, okay? You, on the other hand, white people as a group who can't seem to understand that people are allowed to live and be really good at things and not be white. Right? They don't understand this. So, like, if you're like that and you're not white, it means there's no way. White people are top, and if you're not white, then you get out of here. Okay? You can't be there because you're not white and you're not. No! And I'm like. Anyway, they're not skilled workers and they have no value and they're very unattractive. I don't know how to tell them that either. I'm like, nobody needs you alive, you know that? Why do you think you're still alive? Because you either owe people money or because you haven't done anything to them yet. But if you're doing that and you're actually hurting them, then yeah, they're gonna do something about that. Obviously, anybody would. You would too. So it doesn't really make sense what you're saying. You're just gonna dismiss everyone because they're not white, and then you're gonna, like, just live off their work for the rest of their lives and think that you're actually in charge of them when clearly you're depending on them and leeching off them. That's weird. You are a weirdo.